Sometimes
You
I do, sometimes I don't. No.
really?
Oh, do it. Oh. You
No. I
talking
mean,
about?
can't. Well,
I
because
thought
you're
you meant
used to
do
it.
we do it out? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I'm just
so
playing.
you trust it enough, and your reaction to it that you cool wherever you are, basically.
Yeah, you know me.
Okay. Okay. What's
Yeah.
up, Pat? We haven't seen Pat in a while. Pat's on. Well, I guess it's there, Nike. If Pat found it.
Oh, okay,
Oh no
cool,
no
man.
no no.
Oh, well,
Pat's
she's
on
on.
YouTube though.
Hey, what's up,
Pat's on
Pat?
YouTube.
It's all good. Hey,
Okay.
everybody. Uh, Welcome to Real Brothers Live. Real Brothers for the Real World. I'm TL, and that's my man Stace.
What's up,
And
y'all?
we are Real Brothers, and welcome to our digital neighborhood. We got a good show live. We got a good show for y'all tonight, and we're looking forward to having some good conversation.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, good evening, Nike. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, actually. Yeah, I'm
All right,
doing
good,
good tonight.
good. What's up, Pat? Welcome to the digital neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Real Brothers of the Real World and our weekly, I repeat, our weekly podcast. We got a nice year under our belt, celebrated a 1 year anniversary, January the 24th, and we're still at it. We have yet to miss a Sunday, and we're gonna try to keep that going. So as I talk, as is customary, TL is gonna put the link out. So if you'd like to
Done.
join us with one of these conversations, click on the link. That'll put you backstage. We'll bring you on, and then you'll be able to engage with us. Last couple of times, my man Jay joined us. Last week, he tried to get on because of our guest host, but he was having technical difficulties.
Jay was trying to
Jay,
put his thing
Jay,
down.
Jay, come on.
Jay,
Yo,
like,
in the
I
middle
laid
of the
my thing
podcast.
down quite flat.
All right. So we got the topics. I'm gonna read the topics out, and then we'll that'll dictate the direction that we're gonna go today.
All right.
Topics are doing what you want versus doing what is needed. Second, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Nice. Very nice. Then we have job hopping or no, and why not black owned sports leagues. Those are the four topics that we have. Once again, we hope somebody will hop on and address one of these topics. Pat, you haven't been on in a while. Hopefully, you'll hop on with us soon. The links are there. All right, Nike. Which way you want to go, man? Where you want to
I got
start?
a random before we get
Oh, my
started.
fault. All right.
Yeah, I got a little random. Well,
I
I
got a
got a
little
couple
headache, man.
actually randoms, but the one random kind of bleeds into one of our topics, so I might not. I might just bring that up once we get to the topic.
Okay.
But I do got one random, and it is about uh, Trump coming to my
Mm.
town. All right. So if anybody who might have seen the post on either Twitter or Facebook, and I was asking if there's anybody in my local area who and the reason that I'm asking is because Trump's coming to town, and I know there's going to be some anti-Trump protesters there. So usually, what I would do is I would go and represent Real Brothers, you know, out in that environment. But the date that he's coming is April the 9th, and I'm going to be out of town. So I was just wondering if there's anybody who's in the area or would like to come to the area to represent Real Brothers at the anti-Trump rally and give us some exposure into the anti-Trump uh,
MAGA.
field of play. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my one thing, because like he got these cats down, especially in like the southern states. He got them jokers stirred up, man. It's like a beehive. So
Really?
we yeah. So we
They
need
talking
to
about it
get,
down there?
yes, sir.
Wow.
We need to get. They even talking about making him Speaker of the House.
Wow. Yeah, I heard them
Yeah.
mention
So
that.
so 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 that's what I'm saying. We have to be vigilant, and we
Mm.
have to be as you know. We have to have somebody stir up our beehive. You get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know we are not. I wouldn't say a lot of us are not in the politics.
Mm.
You know, like they're in the politics.
Right.
But we got to change. We got to kind of change that. We got to make sure that all of us are in the politics because they are slowly taking away a lot of our rights and a lot
Mm,
of our freedoms right in front of our noses. But if we don't know where to look or
mm.
what to look for, we won't know that. We
Right.
have to keep up with that stuff because just because laws have changed don't mean they can't change them back. And that's
Right.
currently what they're doing
That's
right
right.
now.
Yeah. We
So
can't go to sleep.
we can't right. We can't just be sleep. We can't wait till there's a so I had a discussion with a guy on Twitter and I had asked uh Ben Crump had posted something about a guy in a hotel that, you know, somebody attacked him in the hotel and he was defending himself and it's all on camera. And he was saying that, he's trying to get a response about that. And what I had tweeted in the post is, I appreciate everything you've done for us,
This is
as
Crump
far
to Crump.
to Crump. Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate everything that you've done. But how about instead of just taking since you have a platform already, instead of a case by case basis and coming to the rescue of individuals, which is cool. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but how about the bigger picture? You know what I
Mm,
mean? How about like you're in the legal field, you're down with civil rights and all that. How about taking some time to take a look at that reparations thing, or take a look at
right.
some of these other things that's going on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not all about stirring the beehive, waiting till something happens before you stir the beehive. We need this beehive stirred all the time. You get what I mean?
Yes,
Or
I do. But the thing about it, Nike, and we've talked about this in the past. It has to be an all of the above approach.
and that's
Crump,
my point. Yeah.
I know,
Right.
but what I was going to say is that Crump and what he's done. They, because it's a team of them, have done so much good for the
Right.
cause because they're the ones that are helping to hold the police departments and those
Accountable.
organizations
Right.
accountable, right? By suing them, and as a result of those lawsuits, and as we know, everything is based on money. As it related to those lawsuits, a lot of those police departments have been making changes, and they brought so much light to those issues that we need him to do those kind of things. So I say all that to say that if that's his lane and
Right.
that's his strength to
Right.
continue that, and then you have other people that are good at organizing groups or marching or being in the street, like we all, Guy Lang, that was his thing. He was always in the street.
Right.
Those are the ones that will be the counter protest for the Trump rally. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we need them all.
Right.
We need them
No, I'm
all.
saying I'm not disputing
Yeah, I
that at
know.
all.
I
But
know.
what I'm saying is like it is possible to walk and chew gum at the same time.
True.
Or like even if he was to refer something like that to somebody else or here
Mm.
have take a look at it. I'm just trying to, you know,
Get as much
put
done as possible. Yeah.
get right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to look at all like you said, I'm trying to look at it from all angles and
Right.
not
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
not, you know.
No, I mean, and like you said though, I agree with you 100%. We can't get lulled to sleep, and I think we're learning our lesson now. How
Right.
not being involved with the local elections and elections at the state level, how they're coming back to kick us. But I
Right.
think we're learning that lesson now because, as you used to say before, we were out of the woodworks, which was good also during the federal elections. President,
Right.
Congress,
Right.
Senate. But now we see how not being involved with those state elections can bite also. So I think
Right.
we're learning now we have to be involved with everything, just
Right.
as like you just said, just as everyone else is.
And for real, I've learned that I used to think, and I'm sure that most of us
Mhm.
think that we always in for the. See, that's another thing that they pulled over our eyes, and we didn't even realize it.
What do you mean?
We're all in on the presidential election,
Right, right,
right? But the president is not the one that has the power.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Not all. Right.
We should be in reverse. We
Right.
should
You're
be
right.
all in on the state
Politics is local.
elections
Yeah. You're
and
right.
not give a fuck who the president is, because the
Mm,
president, without those congressmen, without those legislators and senators,
mm,
nothing will get passed. So it's
mm.
not the president who actually has the power. He's just a figurehead. The power lies with the Congress.
See
You got what I'm
now
saying?
I do, but the other side of that, TL, is that again we have to do all, because think about it. Things are getting shifted now, and you always talk about dark money. You always talk about money in
Yep.
politics. The group, the organization that stripped away laws to allow that to happen is the Supreme Court. They interpret different laws and allow black money to further filter into the country. So my point is that who selects these Supreme Court justices? It's the president.
Right.
So you still need to have president, the president that's going to have your best interest at heart. And not only that, the president is also the commander in chief of the military. So
And
they
that's a good segue, Stace. That's a good segue, because my other random was actually going to have something to do with the Supreme Court. So why don't we
ease
just
into the
go
topic,
ahead
first topic.
and yeah, let's
Okay.
hit that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first topic was Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Right.
So do you want to just continue your thought?
Yeah. So well, first I just have to say, and I'm glad this is on the record and being taped and everything like that, that the way they treated her shows the disparity in the country of African American people, period.
What do you mean by that? The disparity?
Because racism, institutional racism was on full display for everybody to see. And if people didn't see what was going on with that hearing, that is an example of the type of things that black people have to deal with.
That's right.
Every day. Not just in the Supreme Court, not
No,
just in
every day.
in politics and all of that. That type of mentality, type of vitriol that they were spewing at her for no reason,
right?
Even for no reason.
For no reason.
That's the type
At least
of
not
stuff,
as it related to her nomination. Had nothing to do with the nomination at all.
It had nothing to do with any of it.
Right.
And that is the type of stuff that African Americans have to go through on a daily basis. Think about when you're at your job, right? Think about it. You have to behave, or you have to what's the word I'm looking for? You have
Subdue.
to assimilate in a certain way, right? Where you have the approval of some white man somewhere. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So that just
yeah.
That kind of made me mad. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch all of it.
Of course, I've seen snippets of it, and
I
watched as much as I could. But you're absolutely right, and that also speaks to what we always say, that black folk have to be better. She's more quality. She has more experience
than everybody up there.
Than four of them combined.
Right.
Than four current justices combined. She has more experience than them, and she's the first one to ever have been a public defender. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like
so
you said,
she's seen both sides, right?
She's seen both sides, right? Absolutely. She was so she sees firsthand how these laws and these things that happen at that level trickle down and affect the masses. And I think that's that balance that's needed. That's that balance that's needed. But even to your point, with the questions that they were asking her that had nothing to do with her nomination,
so out of bounds.
She was killing them, though. She was killing them.
But still, she shouldn't have had to kill them like that. Like, she shouldn't have had to respond to some of those
Stupid.
Like the one where she took that pause
When he
with
asked
Ted
her
Cruz, with
what
Ted
percentage,
Cruz.
yeah, Ted Cruz, yeah, what percentage of a Christian is she or something stupid like that?
No, not even that one. It was the Ted Cruz joint where he was. There's a
About the
book
books.
by
About the books.
Kent. Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Ibram.
yeah.
Ibram.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
that what just so that folks know what you're talking about. Ted Cruz asked her a question because she's on the board of a school that and there was an issue with some of the books that they were bringing in for the kids to read. Ted Cruz had some of the books up there that were for kindergarten and very young students. Ted
right,
Cruz
child
saying
books.
that those books are telling people how to be homosexuals and how to be
Racist,
reworked in
teaching
races.
babies
Right,
to be racist and all that. Like,
right, right. So it was a
first of
stupid
all,
question.
it was a stupid question just on his face,
Period.
right?
Well, he's
Then,
an idiot
second of
anyway.
all, that same book is in his kid's school,
Oh, really?
right?
Really?
So,
They said
like,
that?
I mean, like,
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, that's what I'm
It's the
saying. So,
hypocrisy, man.
that's the
It's the
perfect
hypocrisy,
word. That's
Nike.
the perfect word.
And
Hypocrisy.
even to that point, as far as hypocrisy, she was approved like 2 or 3 times prior with bipartisan support as she ascended, as
Yeah.
she went up through the ranks as a judge. So now those same people, Cruz, Graham, I think Marco, those Rubio, those same senators that approved her previously are bringing all these issues up now. It's hypocrisy
Right.
because now
Right.
the only thing they're worried about is trying to rile up their base by
Right.
confronting this lady,
And just
this
like we were
candidate.
saying earlier, right? Um, so the Supreme Court. All right. Well, first, I know you heard about what's his name, Clarence Thomas's wife,
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
and the
Yeah,
insurrection shit,
all that
right?
nonsense. Yeah, that's right.
So I mean that that tells us, man, our whole system needs to be either revamped
Mm. Mhm.
or he definitely needs to recuse himself from
Absolutely,
anything having to
absolutely,
do with any of that. Like
absolutely,
anything that
absolutely.
comes up with Trump or
Mhm.
I'm about to say
The res-
resurrection,
right,
the
right.
insurrection.
Yeah,
He
he
should
should not be
recuse
involved with that.
himself for. And
Agreed.
back to Ketanji Brown. The reason that remember when I was saying earlier that they get their base all up in the frenzy.
Right,
That's just public theater, right?
right.
They
Yeah,
want to. That's the way they stir up their base.
absolutely.
With all of the dumb shit, right?
Right, right. And their base respond to those types of social issues: abortion, race relations, poor versus rich. They're
Right,
racial issues. That's red meat for their base. They
right,
thrive on divisiveness. They
right.
they thrive on
That's
that.
what their
So
that's what their whole thing is. That's why I anyway. I'm not even gonna get into like Republican Democrat because in my sincere opinion, I don't think there's much difference. I don't
well, I
think there's a
disagree with that.
lot of difference.
I disagree with
There's
that.
difference and there's different in philosophies,
Right.
but when you get down to the brass tacks of things,
See, but
I
I
think there's
disagree
a
with
lot
that,
of
Mike,
people. All right,
because I look at, like you said, base things on their actions. Now, I'm not saying that either party is perfect. I'm not saying
right,
that. But look at the actions when we have a Republican administration in the House. And we just talked about it at the state level. The Democrats aren't the ones that are rolling back the voting rights issues. Those are Republicans. Those aren't Democrats.
I'm not
So,
talking about all Democrats. Let me just clarify.
I mean, but
So
when
for
you say you don't
instance,
think that there's much difference, I mean, I think in actions, there are huge differences as far as what they do.
I think that's kind of what is that's the narrative they want you to believe.
No, I think it's more than the
Because
narrative, though. Is look at what they're doing. Like I said,
let me give you a reason, right? Anytime that there's a bill that would be beneficial to pass for minority and poor people, they have these bills, and it takes them forever to get through because you have people like Kristen Sinema,
Mm.
Joe Manchin.
Now
What
those
was
are
that other lady's
I know you're talking
name?
about. Yeah. It was three of them. I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
They're
but
Democrats, right?
because there's always a stumbling block. If you look back, if you look back, it's always been like that. It's always a few holdouts, and
Right.
these are, I believe, and this is just my opinion,
Mhm.
that's it's always it's like watching the same thing on TV. It's like watching reruns.
Right.
You get
Right.
like I
Yeah.
can't explain it, but
I understand what
it,
you're saying.
it's
But
like
but again though, Nike. But think about again, and we're talking about things that are done, things that have been accomplished. The Republicans fought tooth and nail for the Affordable Health Care Act, tooth and nail.
Mhm,
They did
mhm.
not want that bill to pass, and then when they came to power, they vowed to tear it down. So that's not a narrative. Those are actions. Those are things that they're doing because, like you said, and something you just said was interesting, and I just thought about it now. You said they have differences in philosophy. You know, their positions are different. Well, when you get in office, in theory, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be enacting laws or trying to steer the country in the direction of the philosophy that you believe in. So the Republicans, the things that they do tend to skew and help people with money, you know, uh, 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 tax cuts and things like that. Whereas Democrats get in the office and normally they do things that tend to help the less wealthy. The
All right, let me ask you a
Affordable
question
Health
then.
Care Act. Mhm.
Democrats are in office right now.
They are, you mean in the president?
Yeah,
The
the
Senate is
president
split. The
and
Senate is split
is
50-50. We
right.
have the White House and
Hmm.
the House we have by like 10 seats or something.
Right, right. So we have the majority then, right?
A slight majority, yes.
Yeah. Has it had have they passed the infrastructure bill?
Yeah. Like that was that 1 point they've spent. They remember that was the Build Back Better. He wanted to do it again. He did one. That's when everybody got the stimulus for COVID. That was a part of that.
No,
It
no,
was like
I'm not talking about
you talking
those.
about the
I'm talking
second
about
part. He wanted to
yeah,
do another piece. No,
right,
he didn't do the second piece. No, he did the first
right,
piece. He
right.
didn't do the second piece.
That's what I'm
Well, and
saying.
you're right. And that's see, but even with that though, like you said, politics is local. What's the one you mentioned? This the senator that you mentioned, Manchin.
Mansion,
He's from he's from
Virginia,
uh,
West Virginia.
West
Virginia,
Virginia.
West Virginia, West Virginia.
His constituents aren't like us. So his constituents, a lot of his constituents, while he might be a Democrat, the people that put him in office are still people that probably fall more in line with the QAnon and those divisive racial acts and all that other kind of stuff. So he still has to walk a fine line between listening to them and also following the party. Because look at it this way. And again, Nike, I do agree that I would like to see those things happen. But what happens if him as a Democrat, right? What if he voted for the second part of the Build Back Better plan, and all of those people in West Virginia that probably aren't like us took him out of office and put a true Republican in office?
But wouldn't the Build Back Better plan or the second part of it? You're talking about West Virginia,
Yeah. Wow.
one of the
Yeah.
highest
Boris. Absolutely.
uh, uh,
Absolutely. Boris.
drug
Yep.
drug infected areas. You know, with the what's that? The Oxycontin and
That's right.
the
But
all of that.
but Terry, but you know what though? Now listen
Well,
to this.
well, I'm
Yo, yo,
saying it would benefit them.
yo. Now, Nike, that's the $100 billion question because as we know though, unfortunately, some people are so idiotic they will vote against their best interest, and that's the problem. Those things will help them, but all they see is that Joe Biden and all of his Democratic friends want this, so we don't. And you're right, Nike. That's the
Stupidity.
problem. And that's a problem with people. That's a problem that we have in this country because, like I said, people vote against their best interests for other issues, whether it be racial, whether it be their sexual, whatever it is. A lot of
Right.
people will vote against their best interests, and that's terrible.
And as far as the Supreme Court, I, I the guy we having on next week can tell you more about it.
Oh
But
yeah,
what I'm
that's gonna
saying
be a good
is
one.
they should definitely have term limits.
I agree
They
with
should
that.
have. There
I
should
agree
be
with that.
more than just 8 justices,
Now
10
I think
justices,
it's 9.
9. It
9.
should be there should be more justices, and they shouldn't be there for a lifetime appointment, and they should have some mechanism that just like other attorneys in the
Right.
country and other judges, they
Right.
should have a what is it?
A
A
board or something that they can
right
that they can
that
be addressed.
monitors the
Right.
right.
See and that's the challenge. That's one of the challenges because like a lot of things, like laws
They
aren't
have no
enacted.
accountability.
Right, but when you don't see something like this happen, you don't think that it's needed. So when something happens, now you see like, oh, it's almost like you have 300 days of sunshine, and then one day it rains, you get a leak in your crib. Oh, I didn't know I had a leak. So laws come about
So
when
now you
things
got to
happen.
fix that leak.
You got to fix the leak, right? So and now as a result of this issue with Thomas's wife, they might realize that there need to be some oversight or some
Right.
other mechanism. I definitely agree with term limits, though. I definitely agree
Yeah,
with that. But
definitely.
now the reason that they don't have term limits is because they want the Supreme Court justice to not be subject to politics. They shouldn't be. They want a Supreme Court justice to get up there and say, I don't have to worry about losing this seat or rerunning again
If you had a 10 or 15-year term,
right.
you don't have to worry about politics because you served your term and you out. You don't have to worry about politics.
Agree.
So
I
politics
agree,
wouldn't
though.
come into it.
I agree that they should have term limits. I agree with that. I don't think that they should be able to, because I think the other reason for that is that it also keeps the blood fresh. It keeps people,
Right, just
it
like
keeps
the
a rotation
president.
in.
Right. Because the world changes, right?
The world changes, right?
And you got
right.
70 and 80-year-old
Right.
white men making
Right.
decisions for
Right.
a country that's the median age is probably, 30, 40 years
Right.
old.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
They're making
They're out of touch.
They're making the laws for, back when they were coming up, and times change. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Now the only other
Yeah.
thing with that is that, remember, they are supposed to interpret the laws. So really, once you get the facts of a case, you simply apply those facts to existing laws. So, it's
Right, but they can interpret a law states any way they want to. There's a bunch of laws that have
agreed.
Laws interpreted differently than you would think that
Agreed.
they would be
Agreed.
interpreted
Right.
the way the
Right.
law was written. They got
Agreed.
ways around stuff.
I agree
you know
with
what
you.
I mean?
Now,
Yeah.
the last thing I want to say on this issue, then we're going to move on, Nike,
All right.
is the speech that Senator Booker gave. It was amazing. It was amazing. And even when he asked her a question, and one of the things where he asked her, or one of the other senators up there asked her, what advice does she give to other young women specifically? She said, persevere. And she went on to talk about how something that we talked about, and Senator Booker talked about it also, how we have a special relationship to this country. And she even brought out the topic that we had, loving a country that doesn't love you back, because we so strongly believe in the foundation of this country and how great its potential is. But I just think that was amazing. That was amazing, man. I really
it has potential, but it hasn't reached it.
It hasn't reached it. Correct. Correct. Agreed. Agreed. That's what we're
Yeah.
striving for. All right, Nike. That was a good one. All right. So you ready to move on, man?
Yes, sir.
We got why not black owned sports leagues, job hopping or no, and doing what I want versus what's necessary. The balance. We want to go, man.
Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Sport league.
Yeah, let's go with the why not black-owned sports leagues.
Okay. So first of all, where did this come from? Where did this question? What happened to make us want to discuss this? What was in the news, or what spurred it?
Well, there was a couple things that caught my eye recently. One is Colin Kaepernick.
Mm.
You know, I
So
know his
it's
last game in the NFL wasn't good, and people say a lot of people say that he's been out of the league for a while and he shouldn't get the chance to you know try out or prove himself, which
they're
I
saying he should
disagree
not get the
with.
chance.
Yeah, yeah. Which I disagree with that wholeheartedly because
Yeah.
even though he's been out of the NFL for a while and he may have a little rust on him or whatnot, if he shows that he's still in shape and if
Right.
he shows that he still can perform,
Absolutely.
I don't even if he doesn't get a job, I
Right.
don't think he should be uh uh disallowed
Blackball.
to
Right.
try out for a job.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? That now those are two different things.
Right.
Like if you try out and then we see that, man, yeah, you lost a step or
Right.
you don't have it no more. I'm cool with that.
Right.
But just to say, ain't nobody gonna give him a shot just because he is who he is. When you got a guy who has 20, what is it? What was 22 or 23 different different uh alleged sexual assault charges on 22 different women. I mean, this guy just signed what was it? $210 million or $120 million.
Which one is that?
My man that used to be the quarterback for Houston.
Oh yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, all right, I ain't saying that he's guilty, but all Cap did was kneel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was nobody saying that he physically assaulted them or he did this and he did that. So that my thing is like that's what's that word you used when on the last what you call
Hypocrisy.
it? That's
Hypocrisy.
hypocrisy right there.
Agreed.
And the only reason they're allowed to get away with that hypocrisy is because they are no black owned NFL teams.
Mm-hmm.
In
Right.
in the NFL.
Now, and actually, Nike, that was the direction that I was going to go with it. It's hypocritical, but also it's stupid, because if you live in America and you believe in capitalism, then let the marketplace dictate whether, to your point, he's good or not. He's good enough to make it or not. Let him try out. If he stinks up the joint, then you don't have a job. But since when do we shut out a person for trying out? That right there says a lot. Our thing is always give us the opportunity. That's always the mindset of everyone in this country. All I want is the opportunity. But now, for some reason or another, you don't think that this brother deserves the opportunity to try out. That right there is hypocritical and stupidity anyway.
I'll give you another such an example that I read, and it had to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars owner, right? And this is the article that I read, and it stated that he doesn't want to pay his employees.
Wait a minute.
And when
he doesn't, I don't understand. He doesn't want to pay.
He doesn't want to pay his employees, and when he was asked why, he just doesn't want to.
Wait a minute. So he doesn't want to pay people that work for him
in the stadium and all that. Yeah.
So what is he saying they should do what should they get for working?
Not on the football field, but it was on a black news channel that he had. But what I'm saying is you have to pay your people for their work. You know what I mean? Like those owners, they do what they want to do and they think they're beyond, reproach. but it's not
Right.
like that. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And they have to have a different way to go about. Well, they could do what they want. It's their money. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to black folk,
Mhm.
right? You can't just do what you want to do and expect everything to just be everything.
When it comes to anybody, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Right,
You
right.
know.
So, and that's what I'm saying. So that's what had me thinking, like, why don't we have? If you look
Well,
at football,
mm,
majority of football players are black.
that's
You look
right.
at basketball, the majority of basketball players are black. You look at even soccer. Well,
Mm.
no, they have
Nah,
a
not
good
soccer, bro.
mix. Yeah, they have a good mix. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
I understand.
with those, specifically with those two sports,
Right.
we should have our own uh sports
Now,
football league and
so
our own basketball league.
so let me ask you this then. If we did that, would you say that would that black owned league? Are you saying leagues or teams? Are you talking about an entire league?
Why not?
Okay, okay. I'm,
Both.
I'm, I'm asking. Right.
Both.
So so
All of the above. Why not?
so if we had a black owned league, so you're not talking about the NFL, right? You're not talking about the
I'm talking
NFL.
about the NFL too. There should
Well,
be
well, no, no,
teams
no, no, no,
owned
no. I
by
mean,
black
because if you're
people
talking about
there, and
starting
we
a
should
new,
have
no,
right
but I mean, but
either
if you're
or.
talking about starting a new league, you're talking about breaking away from the NFL, right?
Yeah,
Because the
why not?
okay, I'm just kind of filling it out. So
Yeah.
now, when you do that, you're not saying that there couldn't be diverse players, though. You're not saying all the players have to be
No,
white.
I'm not saying
Okay.
I'm not even saying that some of the owners can't be white.
Oh,
But what
okay,
I'm
okay.
saying
There you
is
go. Okay.
the the diaspora of the league should match the actual uh the diaspora of the ownership should match the diaspora of the league.
Kim said, "I agree." I wish she would click on the link
You
and
know
let
what I
us know
mean?
what she
Because
agreed. What she
how
agreed
can
with.
you have, like, I'm just throwing this figure out there, right?
Right. Okay.
How can you have a 75% uh uh a league be 75% or 80% black players,
But no owners.
but you have 0% black owners?
Now, you know what? Now, let me respond to that. I do think though that basically for the first time, we are in a position that's going to happen soon. Before we didn't have the resources to pull that together because they say that in order to own a team, you have to be like a billionaire. So
Right.
now we
That's in those leagues that exist already.
say it again. Correct,
That's
correct.
only in those leagues. And why do you think that that's a thing? Why do you think that that's a rule?
Well, I mean, they don't say you have to be, but in order to fund it, you need to have access to basically unlimited resources because it costs a lot of money,
It does.
to run a team. Yeah.
It
But
does.
but
It does.
yeah, it does. But Terry, my point is that I think that in our lifetime we will have black owned teams. Now I don't know about a league because I think what would happen is if you started to see a groundswell of people calling for separating separating from the NFL and starting an entire league, it would make this that you're talking about happen a lot quicker because the NFL is going to say, wait a minute, okay, we need to have, in order to keep this thing together, we need to have a black owned team and it'll happen.
But it has to be done by by a a, a black person of stature, because
What do you
just
mean? What
like
part?
when you say that if somebody was to create a new league,
Mm,
for just black
right.
owners, or
Not
predominantly
just
black
black
owners
owners,
and all
but
that. Right,
right.
right. Um, that would be just that would work. But you remember Jim McMahon when he started
The wrestler,
the
the
right.
wrestling,
Yeah,
WWE.
yeah. Remember
Yeah.
he did the football league.
Oh, the XFL, something like that.
It's right. It's possible to
Oh, it
do.
is possible. It
It's
is.
possible to do. But see, the thing about his league is just another. It was owned by, the
Right, right,
the
right.
same people,
But
right?
that's why I think that it's going to happen. And if I'm not mistaken, well, as far as a black owned team, they were trying to, because I heard Reverend Sharpton mention this. There is a billionaire out there, black guy. I forgot who he was. Not the guy from BET, not him, but there was another billionaire out there that they were trying to get him to purchase like Detroit or one of those other teams. But it's going to happen, Nike. And you know what might make it happen?
What's that?
Let these hip hop artists and these Dr. Dre and Jay-Z and LeBron and all of them, Michael Jordan.
Well, they already have interest
owners.
They are already partial owners in the leagues, but that's not what I'm talking about.
You're still talking about an entire league,
right?
Or
an entire ownership, like
of a team,
of a team. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen in our lifetime. That they're getting close to that now. You know, they're getting close to that now. But the other thing that it makes me thought when we first said that we would talk about this is, unfortunately, we know how all too often when we start moving in a different direction, all of a sudden there's sabotage. You know, you still need sponsorship. You still need money and resources to follow those people. So you can't just pop up with a league and say, okay, now I'm gonna get some teams. You need Nike, you need Gatorade.
Right. You do need that stuff, but just like they have that stuff, that stuff can be got. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying,
and the guy's name that you were talking about is Robert F. Smith.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, we know how things go, and now you're talking about going to the CEO of Gatorade, who's probably not an African American, and say, we want you to sponsor our league. And again, not saying that it won't happen, but I'm just saying there's a lot more involved with creating a league rather than just, you know
how we can get whatever we want done,
because all of the
Black
people,
Dollar blackout on June 11th, 2022.
Yep.
Hey, if everybody hold their dollars,
agreed. I agree with you 100%.
That could just be put on the list of shit that we want to get done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we can do whatever we want to do.
Mike, I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you on that. Because if LeBron, 50 Cent, all of the people that Gatorade sponsors, if they all say we're pulling out, change will happen. I agree with you 100%. It can happen. Now Kim said, I agree. What did she say? I'm gonna put up on the screen. I agree that we should have black-owned leagues and teams. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Okay, we got another one. Lynette put something up. Okay.
Michael Jordan is the principal owner of the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah,
is he the principal? Yeah. Is he the principal?
Yeah, he's the owner of the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, I thought he had a minority stake. I didn't know he was a principal owner.
But and there's no buts. I'm a Michael Jordan fan.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, I guess it is a but. Between two different leagues, basketball and football, which is in my opinion, those are our
sports. Those are urban sports
that black people love the most. Right. So out of two sports, 32 teams in the NFL,
whatever it is, right?
However many teams it is in the NBA, and we have one owner of a team, and the thing is, okay, it's more people like Michael Jordan in the NBA. So why is he the only owner?
See, right? but now remember that, but that goes back
to the NFL. Why no owners there?
But that goes back to what I was just saying though, and we always come back to this, and this is where the yelling starts. That you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going, right? I mean, it's still this. Michael Jordan just became that whatever his stake in the Hornets, that was within the last 10 years. And that's my point. I mean, we're getting to the position now when we're ready to do that, where we have black or minority billionaires that are in a financial position that they can do it. That's what I'm saying. So I think that we're going to see this trend speed up, but we're just getting there. We're just getting. Before, we didn't have anybody. I mean, not anybody, but we didn't have a lot of people that were in a position to go out and make a purchase like that. It just didn't exist.
Shaq
You
could have
know
been an owner.
who?
Shaq.
He probably can now. Actually, he probably not. No, Shaq is
Shaq
a
get money.
smart dude and got a lot of money. But I don't know
Shaq
if
get
he's
money.
billionaires. I don't know if he's billionaires.
He damn close to it. Shaq gets
he
money.
might be. He might be. And he's a smart business dude.
But
But
that's
I
what
don't
I'm
know if he's
saying.
there
Should
yet.
you have to be? Should that be one of the qualifications of well, maybe in the NFL because that's their thing. But why shouldn't we have a league where you don't have to be a billionaire? How about you
Well-
get a few thousandaires together, or a few millionaires together and throw
right.
something together, right?
True. Well, now listen to this though.
You can
That
you can
goes
make
back-
a league that's a co-op, right? You can make a
Agreed.
league that's a co-op,
Agreed.
and then have people invest and then get returns on their investment.
Now,
You know what I mean?
Nike, I'm not saying that. I don't know if it's written that in order to own a team, you have to be a billionaire. I'm not saying that I think that's the case, but most of them, you have to have access to astronomical resources in order
you got
to
to be
do
a
that.
billionaire, especially
Right.
in the NFL
You probably-
with some salaries that they
Right,
in the
exactly.
NFL
And that's the other thing
NBA
too,
with
Nike.
some salaries that they paying. Yeah,
Right. They probably want to see a balance sheet, a very billionaire type balance sheet, so that you're not running a raggedy shop. You know what happens? Your stadium falling apart, you know what I mean? So
right.
they don't want any ghetto
I
teams.
tell you what, I bet I could build a league that would challenge the NBA and the NFL because with professional sports, right?
Mm.
There are thousands
Of people that could have made it.
thousands
Absolutely.
of
Players, yeah.
athletes that don't make it to the next
right.
level.
That's
Not
right.
that they're not good.
Right.
Not that they're
That's
not
right.
good. They just not that,
Right.
that Kevin Durant
Right.
or that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a lot of guys out here that play
whole
ball.
lot.
That's
Yeah.
that's like good. They just
Right.
don't have that exposure. They just don't have that way, that
Way
way to
in.
find that lead.
Now that's what
So you
that's
could
what
take
Lynette
people
said.
like people like that and maybe not pay them $100 million.
Right.
Put them on a salary of $100,000.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but
You
don't
gotta-
now let me read what Lynette said, and then I have a response. Lynette said people have to work together to be owners of a league. We have to learn how to trust each other enough to put our minds and dollars together and be on the same page with how business works. And she's exactly right. But that goes to what you just said, Nike.
and Lynette,
we have
that's
to work
what
together.
everything. That's what
everything. Right.
That's
That's what everything. Lynette
If
was
we
our,
did
our
what you
host
just
last
said
week.
right there
We'd be right.
on
We'd be
everything that
unstoppable.
we'd
be unstoppable.
tried to do,
We'd be
oh,
unstoppable.
man. Oh,
Right.
my God.
Right. All right. Now, and the other thing with that is, like I said, but then you create a league, which happened with the XFL, and you're paying them, and you have that dude that could have made it in the NBA but didn't make it for whatever reason, and he's
He gonna
killing
be a
them.
star in your league.
No, what's gonna happen? And what
He
would
gonna
you
be
do
a
if you were the
star in your
NBA?
league.
No, the NBA will come to them and say, "Well, Terry paying you thousands, come join my team and make millions," and then he's gone. So
and then the next star come up, or
Yeah.
you sign something where you have to wait. You can't sign with another NFL team for a year
Right.
or
Right.
2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, there's ways around. that. You know.
Now
what I
this
mean?
is profound. Most of us are taught how to be employees and not how to be bosses. I agree with that totally. But the other side of that,
she
though,
said
Lynette,
some shit right there.
but you know what though, Nike? But we need those employees. The employees are the ones that keep things going. Like they say, the Chiefs and Indians.
But you need some bosses too.
You need some bosses. I agree.
Hey, you can't have all just Indians. You need some Chiefs up in that.
I
bitch
agree
too.
with that.
You know
I
what
agree with
mean?
that. All right, you
All
ready
right.
to move on, man?
Yeah.
We got job hopping and all, and doing what I want versus what's needed. Let me start with the job hopping. The job
All right.
hopping. I remember before, Nike, it was almost frowned on when your resume listed all of these different companies that you work with, that you work for. It was viewed as You weren't a dependable person. You weren't a stable person. You job hopped. Now it's on. Now it seems as if the mindset has shifted, and now it's viewed, which I understand, is viewed that now you just have more experience and have had more experiences than someone who stayed at a company for 25 years.
Because they only know how to do that one thing, whatever they doing at that company for 25
Absolutely.
years, and they
Right.
don't know nothing outside of that.
Right. And
Yeah.
and in addition to that, that person that has been there 25 years might not take change as well either.
Right.
You know,
And
I
here's
did this
another
thing
thing. If you've been at a
25
company
years.
for 25 years and you haven't risen in that company, they looking at them, well, why do you still have the same position after this many years?
Well, now some people are comfortable where they are and they don't want that additional responsibility. I get that, but I agree with you. You know, somebody, you know, that could be, and actually that's what you're hearing. Not that it's frowned on, but it's not viewed the same as it was before. You know, now they want to see people that have had other experiences, because now if you worked at Microsoft, you worked at Dell, you worked at HP, you worked at all these companies, you worked at Google. Okay, I want you to bring all of those experiences to my company. You know what I mean? You know, so you know, that whole thought process is changing.
It's changed.
It,
Because
well,
I
it has changed.
remember actually a lady telling me that one time I was on an interview, and she was like, "Well, why are you looking to leave?" And I didn't know at the time to be like, you know, the company is about to lay off or something like that. I was just like, man, I just don't want to be there no more. And I was trying to be honest, but you can only be so honest on the interview.
That was our topic last time.
Right. Because I was like, man, I'm doing this over here. And, if I jump over here, y'all paying 10,000 more than what they paying. So why am I do the same job over here when I can come over here, be a good employee and get paid?
Right.
I guess they didn't like that response. Because I didn't get the job. And then she was like, well, we don't usually like when people go from job to job just for but
money. And you know what, though, Mike? But listen to this though, and that's a good point. And I think when you were talking, I thought about it. I think in a way it's a good thing, because now you base more of your hiring practices on that person's their attitude and
loyalty.
No, not loyalty. Their attitude, attitude, and their character.
Right.
So now remember, had you responded to that question, well, I like the company that I work at, but I'm ready for a change. I want some different experiences. That might have been.
But if that company does the same thing that this company do, is not much that's going to be changing. Like if you're going to be if you're going to be a Unix administrator here and a Unix administrator here, you're still doing Unix administration.
True.
Or if you're doing storage administration, like whatever you do,
but it still sounds
doing the same thing.
But it still sounds different than, well, because y'all paying more. Now your answer was the honest answer. And most of the time it is, but again, see, because then that would scare the person. Okay, so when the next person pops up and is willing to pay you $3,000 more than I'm paying, you can leave here and go there.
Not for $3,000. It depends on the situation. Travel, commute.
Right.
You know what I mean? What y'all offering. But the thing is, I've done it, and this is how. So I've jumped from when I started, when this was before I started, when the internet was just coming out. Like I ain't had no laptop, none of that. Like that shit didn't exist when I first started. But then, as shit started to come, I went from here to here to here to here to here to here to here within like 10 years, right?
Wow.
And that 10 years, my salary just about more than doubled, right?
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't have taken those hops, going from job to job to job to job,
You wouldn't be where you are
then
now.
I
Yeah.
would, I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
I
It,
mean,
it would be
but again,
different.
and we all do it, and that's reality. But
Right.
again, if you're hiring someone based on the character that's sitting there in front of you, you don't want to hear, "Well, I'm coming here because y'all pay more." You know what I mean? Again, I think that it's good that they're doing that. Hey, nice. It's good that they're doing that now. It's not viewed as a black mark if you bounce around a little bit, because then I think during the interview process, and even when you hire the person, it gives you a window
Right.
to see how they fit within your team. To
And
see
then
how
it
they
also
how they move
shows
in the
that you
office.
have experience,
Well, right,
especially
exactly, right.
because especially when you, like you said before, just to use your example, when you go from like Microsoft
Mm-hmm.
to say Amazon to HP
Right,
to Cisco and all that,
right.
which to be
That's where
honest
you
with you,
went. Yeah,
that's what
that's
I
where you were.
did. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah. Right.
but you have to do, in order to get to a certain point, you have to do that.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point, which is in my thing now, that if I move to a certain job, they're not going to pay me. I'm at my ceiling. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So if I move there's no need for me to move. Like
Okay. Right.
in order for
Right.
them,
Right. For
in
that
order for me
industry.
to leave where I'm at now, I would literally have to get fired,
Wow. Right.
because I'm not just going to leave,
Right.
because if I go somewhere else, chances are I'm probably going to get paid less
Mm,
than what I
mm.
make now. You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
Nike,
Just because
and
of the economy.
listen to this, Nike. A lot of us, especially black folk, a lot of us are afraid to make that move. A lot of us, we have something and we believe, which is the old saying is true: a bird in the hand is worth more than one
Two
in
in
the
the bush.
bush. You know, so we have something, we're comfortable, and we're afraid to come out of our comfort zone in order to chase that other, experience
And
slash
that's me
dollar.
right now. Right now I'm kind of
Right.
in a limbo, in a
Yeah.
situation,
Right.
but only because I have aspirations to do, what we're doing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my dream is to do this full time. Like this is
Absolutely.
all this is this like this is what did they say? If you do what you love
You're not working. Yeah.
for your job, you'll
That's
never
right.
work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Well, I done
Yeah.
worked a lot of days in my life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now I'm ready to go that other
Right.
route where
Yeah.
I'm ready to do, you know,
And I think that again, we have to think about making those jumps when we do. Also, though, which is very important, if you are going to leave the right
on the
way,
good terms,
on a
right?
good terms, right? Because you never know when you might need to go back to
Don't
that
burn your
company
bridges,
that you've been.
right?
Don't burn your bridges, right? Right.
Right,
Now, Lynette says some people don't have a choice if they are laid off due to no fault of their own, and she's right.
right,
Sometimes that happens, which forces you to move. But again, I think that we shouldn't be afraid to explore other opportunities, and
right.
again, and that is coming out of your comfort zone.
And Miss
But
Stevens has a good point too,
what she
right
say?
here. She said many jobs have other people in mind. Why with the same company? And because the thing is, uh, like let's say when I was sick,
Mm,
when I had pneumonia and
mhm,
all that, I got pneumonia and I'm steady, like I was trying to work, trying to,
mm,
what I mean, do,
mhm.
but I just wasn't feeling well.
Right.
Venus was like, if you die right there doing
They're gonna hire
whatever you're
somebody else the
doing,
next day.
they have your shit the next day. Somebody be doing
Mail
what
to
you
Venus
doing.
in
You
a
know what I mean?
box
Before
with
your
the
seat
next
get
person.
warm.
Right.
Right.
Right. The
So
next
I'm
person
not making
that look
myself
just like you.
right. I'm
Right.
not making myself sick
Right. No.
for no
No.
other
No.
company. I'm
No.
considering myself right now in semi-retirement.
Mm,
And I
mhm,
just want to be real with you. Like
mhm,
I've had my time trying to impress. I had my time trying to be like, you know, top guy in the company, or,
mhm,
doing the most work, or getting the
mhm,
best, reviews and all of that.
mhm, mhm.
I did my time. You know what I mean?
Well,
Right
now,
now
now,
I'm on the back end. I'm on the back
well,
nine
well,
now.
at our age now, though, Nike, we are.
Right.
We're not at a
Yeah.
point in our lives where we're looking to still grow. We're not looking to make more money to go buy a bigger house. No,
Nah,
we're on the other side now.
right,
We're on the other side of our lives.
right, exactly,
We're part of the slowdown. We're
right,
part of the slowdown. But also, even more importantly, I think that, and companies are starting to realize this, you need to be concerned with the health of your employees, because as they say, which is the case, your employees are your most valuable assets.
right.
Because without your employees, you're nothing. So
And
you need to be concerned with their health and well-being. So
right. And the reason I used to work my daggone fingers to the bone, like my my
mhm,
fingers should be like this, you know what I mean, with arthritis and all that shit.
right, right,
But it's because I got 5 kids
mm-hmm,
and and a wife, and I got grandkids and all that. So everybody needs to be taken care of to a certain extent, right?
right,
Certain,
right. Yeah,
throughout their life, throughout their, my kids' life, I've always had to maintain a certain level for them, not for
right,
me. I mean,
right,
I could live in a damn, 10 by 10
right.
apartment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right. I know.
Well, not you got a
I
big
understand you
joint,
say,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know.
But you know what I
Right.
mean? I don't need much. All I
Mm-hmm.
need is somewhere to lay down in the TV and I'm good. You know what I'm
Something to eat.
saying?
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, man.
I did what I did in order to take care of my family, right?
Right,
So now
right.
that my
Doing what
kids
you
are
needed to
all
do.
grown, my grandkid, I still have to, give
Mhm,
give a little bit to my grandkids,
mhm.
and I help my kids every now and then
Yeah,
when they need,
right,
they need some
right.
assistance. But it's different.
It's
They're
different.
older now
That's
and
right.
they have their own lives, right?
Hmm,
I did what
hmm.
I was supposed to do for them. So now it's time for them to figure it out. And my daughter that's going to graduate school,
Mhm,
I still have that on my plate,
mhm, mhm.
but
It's different though.
it's a
It's a different
different, right,
responsibility. The
right, right,
responsibilities
right,
have changed. I
right,
heard an author. He wrote a book and he was being interviewed, and that's exactly what he said. His age was 55. He said at the age of 55, now you should be viewing your life differently. Now it's not about accumulating. Now, from up until that age, you had a big canvas, you had a big empty canvas, and you were throwing all the paint and painting this beautiful picture, which was your life. Now, at the age, as he said, at the age of 55, now you start chiseling away at that picture and now making that picture more into who you are. So you start shedding all those other things. Like you said before, you wanted to, not that you want to look bad, but we were building, we were still
right.
growing, we were accumulating. But
You know
now
where
you
I'm
start
at with
shedding
that
that stuff.
picture?
Now
You
you
know where
only
I'm
want
at?
the
I'm
basics,
at
you
the
want the
point of that
necessities.
picture. I'm at the point of that picture where I don't want to carve it all up yet. I
Mm.
just want to admire it.
Right,
You got
right,
like I've
right,
been throwing paint at this canvas
right.
for all these years. Now I just want to take a breath,
But
sit back
still, like,
and
but you
admire
still,
it
but
so I
in
can know
that,
what my next direction is.
but with that being said, though, even still within that same vein, you're no longer accumulating. Even pulling back
Right,
and admiring it,
right,
you're no longer adding to the picture.
right. If
Now you're
anything,
just looking at it.
you're cutting back.
That's what he said. Now
Yeah,
you start to chip away at those things that you didn't really need. Think about what you just
right,
said as far as your job. Now you're changing directions. You want to do something else full time. So now you're trying to chisel that painting into a sculpture that will put you
right,
in a position to do what you want to do full
right.
time.
But there's
You
one
know,
problem too. There
mm,
is an issue with it.
what's
And
that?
the issue is all the things that you've accumulated, right? Uh, you still have to be responsible for, and you still have to maintain. Like
Mm,
this
mhm.
house, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't, even though I don't need this house anymore.
Mm. But you
Like
live it. You live in it.
I live in it, right?
Yeah.
So I still have to pay the bills. I still have to,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So I
Absolutely.
can't just stop
No.
doing. I
No.
just can't stop. I still have to work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
So
but,
I
it, but it,
still
there's still a difference though, because like I said, but before it was, all right, you 35, I want a bigger house.
right,
I want
right.
grass.
Yeah, yeah.
My kid is
That's
still
dead.
young. He needs his own room.
That's
Now you
dead.
have a
Right.
4-bedroom house and you have 2 bedrooms that, like you said, one is a closet.
Yeah,
And another one
we
is
don't never come upstairs. Like I got
exactly
a
right,
whole
right,
upstairs that we
right.
hardly ever
Yeah,
use. Well, I
but you're
use it for
still
my office, but other than
right.
that, like
You're
you know what
still
I'm saying?
heating it. You're still heating
Right.
it. You still, you're still taking. You still got to make sure that when it rains, it doesn't leak in that room.
Right.
So now later on, you're looking at it saying, "This is too big. I don't need all this room."
The only reason, remember I told you a little while ago when
Yeah.
we said we
Yep.
were going to downgrade.
Yep.
The
Right.
only
Yep.
reason that we decided to keep it is because the economy is so
Right.
bad,
Yep.
and if my kids need a place to stay,
They're still right.
they still can come home.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's a good segue into our other topic too.
Well, now it's 9:05. Do you want to hit that next week? You want to hit that next week, or I'm gonna just read real quick what Nice said. And actually, she said repeat what you said earlier. If you do what you want, what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Nice
That's
says
true.
that she has a podcast also out of Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice.
That's what's up.
But yeah, that's true. So as far as the topic, Night, you want to hit that next week?
What's that? Doing what you want versus doing what you need?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hit that next week.
We can hit that next
We'll
week.
put it on. We'll put
Wait
it
a minute.
on.
Wait. Now
Whoa,
next week.
whoa.
Right.
Whoa,
Well, we'll push that off. We'll hit
Let's
that
hit
later.
it now,
Next
then.
week, we might as well give a little snapshot, a little
All right.
promo.
Yeah, we'll hit that maybe in 2 weeks. How about that?
Right. Give them a little promo of what the expectation is for next week, Night.
All right. So everybody, listen up.
Unless something changes.
We got a big deal for the show next week. We have Ellie Mistow for next week. His book, Please Allow Me to Retort,
Right.
is the number 2 book on the New York Times best-selling list. He is a Harvard law graduate. Sometimes you see him on MSNBC.
Right.
Sometimes you'll see him on other news shows, podcasts. He's one of the smartest dudes I know when it comes to talking about
Constitution and law.
the
Right.
Constitution, law,
Right.
black issues in general. I mean, this dude is really
Yeah.
smart, and I have a lot of respect for him, and
What's
we
I
were
wanna-
lucky enough to get him on the show next week. So we're
Now,
hoping
Mr.
that we
Pats.
can get. We're going to be promoting the crap out of it
Right.
because we want a lot of people. We want a lot of attention on this show. So
Yeah.
we're
So stay tuned.
really hyped in order to get him.
Unless something changes, he'll be joining us next week. Like Terry said, his book, Allow Me to Retort, is talking about his premise was that we need to trash the Constitution and start over. Miss Stevens said, Pat said that it's unavailable. I talked to her earlier this week, and she was trying to buy the book, and she couldn't find it. I guess it's that popular, like you said, number 2 on the list.
Yeah,
he's
you'll
be able to get
big
it.
deal. Getting him on our show is like getting who's that guy that who remember Jay mentioned not Langston Hughes
I know talking about the other day. Yeah, I remember you talking about from Renaissance. I forget when he quoted.
That's like he is the modern day version of him.
Wow. Miss Stevens says reminds me of the smartest dude on the planet.
Yeah,
that's what Pat said.
Yes.
Pat, Terry.
Yes.
Pat said, call her Pat.
Yeah. All right, Miss Stevens. All right.
No, Pat. That's gonna be tough. We gotta work on that. But okay, Pat. But yeah. So stay tuned unless something changes. He will be joining us next week. We'll be talking about his book, Law, the Constitution. I have a different mindset on trashing the Constitution, and I had to find a way to work that in without. And I hope he won't make me look bad.
Don't let him burn you down, bro.
Now, listen, that night, if he start making me look bad, you got to jump in or something, So don't let him trash me.
Hey, I'm with Ellie all the way, bro. I'm with
Yeah.
Ellie all the way.
Yeah. Well, listen, you could disagree with him, but don't let him trash me. I said, don't let him.
A copy of the book to show y'all.
Right? You had it
the last week, but I have it. I'll definitely have it for the next show.
So it should be a good conversation.
It's a really good book. I'm not all the way through reading it. I got a few more chapters to go. But man, he breaks it down where if you can read
He said that.
You can understand.
He said that.
Like,
It's not that
yo,
difficult. He said that on a podcast I was
yeah.
listening to. That the law is not that difficult if you can read, and you might have to read it a couple times, but you can gain an understanding of law and lawful matters. So don't forget, y'all. Next week he'll be joining us. It should be interesting and it should be insightful. So I hope that you'll tune in and maybe learn things, because, like we said where we started, Nike, we have to be more involved. We have to be more in tune to what's going on around us. So hopefully you'll tune in. You get the opportunity. We have the link here. Maybe you could pop on, ask a question, or type a question into the chat, something that you've always wondered. So like I said, hopefully people will tune in. So we're going to close it down. So in closing, you want me to go first, Nike? I see you doing something over there. In closing, I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for tuning in, as always, to our weekly podcast. Always remember, you can catch us on all of the major platforms. We're still not on Spotify. That might come back later. We appreciate you. Please get on YouTube and subscribe. Our subscribers are going up, Nike. I noticed that the other day.
Yeah.
Our subscribers going to Stacy. Just don't say. What'd she say?
And I had to look it up too. It's James. He's the modern day James Baldwin.
James Baldwin. Okay.
He's our modern day James Baldwin.
Just don't say it. I'm on the fence about
on steroids. Yeah.
Right. Now she's on the fence about the Constitution. Yeah. Okay, Miss Stevens, we're gonna have to talk. But you know what? Maybe. Well, you know what, Mr. Pat. Maybe next week I'll say some things or some thoughts that you had, and bring them up, because I don't know if I'm on the ballpark saying that it needs to be trashed. I have different thoughts. Oh, this is supposed to be my closing. So again, y'all, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. We have the merchandise available
where you can get it, except Spotify.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
We do have the merchandise. Don't forget, we got the Real Brothers shirts. We have hats. That's right. We have mugs. So purchase something.
We got bags for the ladies.
We have bags. Right. Well, men can use them too. They can. Right.
Hey. All right, that's cool. Yeah, all right. Bags for the men too.
We got bags for the men. All right. Yeah. All right, Nike. That's my closing. So we'll see you next week. But go ahead, Nike.
Say, everybody, we really appreciate everybody's support. Y'all have been, giving us a lot of your heartfelt feedback, and we really appreciate y'all. And we hope to continue, on our forward trajectory to keep things moving. We're going to be getting the book club up and running shortly, so look out for that. And we are,
True Voice X says you're welcome.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that takes the time to give us a few minutes out of their day or out of their week. And just want to let y'all know one thing. You know what I'm about to say, Black?
Yep.
Love is the new black.
Love is the new black.
And we love y'all. We out.
We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.